Exodus 19:4, what did he say?
You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself.
Come on.
And now if you diligently obey my voice, and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for the earth is mine.
Everybody used to have a problem with that. That he's going to make a people above all other people. And I remember when I was first bringing this out, the Father is telling you something, that Israel is going to be above all people. Whether you know it, understand it, believe it, or like it or not. Israel, his people, his chosen people, are going to be above all other people on the face of this earth. Why? Is it because we're so lovely, because we're so great? No. The reason why his people are going to be above all people is because we are his people, and because he has given us his covenant, he's given us his commandments and his statutes and his laws. And no other nation has these commandments. No other nation has these statutes. Only Israel. And what happened to us in slavery is that we lost our identity. We lost who we were. They told us that we were African people in the sense of being from the lineage of Ham. Remember, Noah had how many sons?
Three.
He had 3 sons. He had one son named Japheth, one son named Shem, and another son named Ham. When you look at the genealogy or the table of nations in Genesis chapter 10, it clearly shows you who Japheth's descendants are. And the Bible says that Japheth is the progenitor of the Gentile people. Now go ask any preacher, pastor, or any theologian. You ask them, who are you? Or what nation are you from? The majority of them will say, we are Gentiles. And they'll say, we are Hamites. We're from Africa. We're Africans. All right? When you go look at Ham, who is the father of all the African races or all the dark races, when you go look that up in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it'll tell you who Ham is. It'll say Ham is the progenitor or the father of all of the dark races. And then it says this, except the Negroes.
That's right.
He's the father of every other of the Ethiopians. He's the father of the Cushites. He's the father of the Egyptians. And he's the father of one other, like 4 sons he had. But he's the father of all of them. He's not the father of the Negroes. So if Japheth is the father of the Gentiles, and we know that the Gentile nations, just by the name of the sons that he had, one of the sons' name was Javan. When you look at the word Javan, what does it mean, brother? You remember?
It means Greek, I believe.
It's the Greeks. Javan was the progenitor of the Greeks. Are you Greek?
No,
You
sir.
see? So that means we can't be from that lineage there. And then he has another son, Kittim. The Kittim, what does Kittim mean?
Romans.
Romans. Are you a Roman?
No, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So Japheth was the father or the progenitor of the Gentile races. And these are all European nations that he's the father of. Ham is the father of all the dark races except the Negroes. So now, what have we been called ever since we've been in this country?
Negroes.
Negroes. We've been called Negroes. But nobody know what a Negro is. But then when you go over there and look at Shem, when you go look at Shem's lineage, he is the father of all of Eber's children. E-B-E-R. Eber's children. The word Eber became Hebrews. The word Hebrews became Hebos. And the word Hebos became Ibos. And the word Ibos became Negroes. So when they were calling us Negroes, they were really calling us Hebrews. Everybody say Hebrews.
Hebrews.
That's who we are. We're Hebrews. And we're Israelites. And we are the ones that this Bible is talking about. This is our history and our heritage and our covenant. This is what the whole world has, our book and our writings, but they have preached it to us from a different perspective. And so we think when we hear somebody preach, especially our foreparents, because if you go look at the movie A Birth of a Nation, I hope y'all went to go see that, or hope y'all are going to see that. I'm taking everybody tomorrow to go see it. The Birth of a Nation, it deals with how the slave masters used to teach the preachers and make them preach, or taught them different things in the Bible. Like Ned Turner, he was taught how to read at a young age. And he began to understand that this Bible wasn't just a Bible or just words dealing with just anybody. In that movie, it begins to let you know and let you begin to see how he began to understand that this Bible was for him. Because there's a scene in that movie, and I hate to spoil it for those that ain't seen it, but nevertheless, I'm spoiled that part anyway. He got up there and he said there were some people who had been just like literally tortured by the slave master. And he had about 4 or 5 of them in front of them. And he began to, they said, you better say the right words, nigger preacher, because that's what they were doing. They were going to get calling them nigger preachers to go around and preach on these different plantations to cause the people to be more obedient to the slave master. So they would preach things like, slaves, obey your master. Slaves, do what you're told. Slaves, you're supposed to be obedient. Slaves, don't get a slave master a hard time. Stuff like that has to do with obedience and trying to get these people to think and function in a certain way. The same way it is today. Anytime you get a preacher and there's a big riot, all they're trying to do is, come on, settle down. Let's talk about this. Let's protest. Let's get a march going. But nothing is ever dealing with the kingdom of Yah, suffered violent, the violent, taken by force. Ain't none of that kind of talk, because you would be stirring up and agitating things. But Ned Turner, he had a different perspective and a different mindset, because he preached to these people the word of Yah. But when he preached to them, after he got through preaching, these people heard it in a different way. See, oppressed people begin to see this Bible from a different perspective. Especially when you see people who came out of slavery themselves. And they're calling on this Elohim that delivers out of slavery. He delivers out of slavery. And you begin to identify as like, hold on. Could these people actually be us? And when you begin to look at it, the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, he said, I will bring you into Egypt again on ships. We know back here, they were able to walk from Egypt to Mount Sinai, to where they received the commandments. They were able to walk from Egypt to Mount Sinai. They were able to do that, all right? And we know that it was almost a 47-day journey, and he gave them 3 days before he came down to give them the commandments. And that's how we get our 50 days of Jubilee, or our 50 days, how Jesus did in the New Testament, 40 days shown among the people, and he told them to go be endowed with power from on high. So that 50-day period was between Egypt all the way to the Mount Sinai, where they were going to receive the commandments. But my point is that when you look at the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, it clearly tells you that because of our disobedience, that we would go back into Egypt, into slavery again at a later date. But this time we're going into Egypt not by walking there, not by being carried there on horseback or chariots or anything. He said, you're going to go back into Egypt on ships. Everybody say ships.
Ships.
Y'all understand that? The first curse in Deuteronomy chapter 28 is, cursed are ye, cursed shall ye be in the city. Now, what city you look at in America or even around the world, who's the people that are cursed?
We are.
Ain't that something? So it's not by coincidence. It's not by accident. This Bible is talking about you. But you were never designed to be cursed. You was really designed from the very beginning to be what?
Blessed.
Above all people. But guess what we are? We're beneath all people because of our disobedience to his commandments. We are beneath all people because we refuse to turn from our wicked way. We're beneath all people because we refuse to diligently obey his voice and guard his covenant. He said, either you're going to be above all people, or either you're going to be below all people. There will be no in between. Are y'all hearing that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.